This week on ANN, 7 Adventists are killed in northern Cameroon attacks.
Rome, Italy officially commemorates a square in honor of Martin Luther, the father of the Protestant Reformation.
And an unlikely group of lawmakers meet at the United Nations to call for an end of religious persecution around the world.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thanks so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, a group known for terrorist attacks in Western Africa raided a village, killing 9 people, including 7 Adventists. The attacks took place on the night of September 17 in the village of Aissa Harde, located in the far north of Cameroon. Heavily armed men invaded the village located 11 kilometers or 6.8 miles east of Mora in North Cameroon. The attackers raided homes and burned down stores, causing significant loss. Cameroon recorded the first terrorist attacks on its soil in July of 2015 with the attacks in Fotokol and Marua. Richard Hinjena, president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in North Cameroon, said many families have also emptied the village, leaving a desolate village languishing in panic and psychosis. According to Hinjena, this is the first time the Seventh-day Adventist Church has seen loss of life since suspected Boko Haram fighters began their abuses in the far north of Cameroon. Hinjena asks people around the world to remember those affected by the violence in prayer.
For more than 6 years, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Italy has played an instrumental role in the creation of a public space in honor of Martin Luther in the nation's capital city. Last week, representatives from the city of Rome, the Adventist Church, and various Protestant religions were able to see the efforts of their work fulfilled with the commemoration of a new square. Notizia Adventiste sent this report.
Avete abbracciato questa iniziativa della toponomastica a Roma, dare il nome a una piazza a Martino Lutero. Siete soddisfatti?
Siamo soddisfatti, molto soddisfatti, ma non crediamo che è solo una gioia per gli evangelici. Questo è un atto fortemente laico dal nostro comune, cioè dalle amministrative laiche e civili, e è un dono a tutta la città.
Stefano Paris, presidente dell'Unione Italiana delle Chiese Cristiane Adventiste. Siamo qui oggi, questa grande festa. Come ci sentiamo? Come ti senti, visto che la Chiesa Adventista è stata tra le promotrici, le prime promotrici di questa iniziativa?
Sentire una soddisfazione di essere arrivati anche a portare un nome importante della storia che ha segnato puntualmente eventi straordinari come quello appunto della Riforma protestante con Martin Lutero. Sentirsi oggi anche rappresentati attraverso una piazza qui importante su Roma, una capitale importante che ricorda e che riconosce soprattutto un uomo che ha amato la scrittura e ha dato tutto se stesso. Quindi per noi oggi è una grande festa, un grande riconoscimento anche al mondo protestante, che non è da sottovalutare, rimane un momento storico.
Sente a casa ora in questa piazza? Può questo evento avvicinare di più Roma alla città natale di Lutero?
Fühlen Sie sich hier schon zu Hause auf diesem Platz und glauben Sie, dass das Rom und Eisleben näher zusammenbringt?
Das glaube ich auf jeden Fall, dass durch diese Platzbenennung ein Zeichen der Ökumene gesetzt wird zwischen dem Kernland der Reformation. Mein Vaterland war Eisleben, von daher bin ich, und der Stadt Rom.
More than 100 lawmakers from nearly 50 countries met at the United Nations last week to discuss efforts to bring about the end of global religious persecution. The discussion took place during the International Panel of Parliamentarians for Freedom of Religion or Belief. Rohan Wellington sent this report.
Participants of the two-day meeting for International Panel of Parliamentarians for the Freedom of Religion or Belief made an extraordinarily diverse group. Some of the top lawmakers from 50 countries discussed current religious freedom challenges, heard from victims of religious persecution, and explored ways in which lawmakers could raise awareness about the issues within their own nations. After hearing a presentation from Nagma Abedini, the wife of Saheed Abedini, the American Christian pastor who's been in prison in Iran for more than 3 years, 67 lawmakers signed a letter addressed to the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament calling for Pastor Saheed's release. Nagma shared what keeps her encouraged as she awaits her husband's release.
We understand that your husband is still in Iran, and sorry to hear about that. How are you coping? How are you dealing with that?
Well, my faith in Jesus Christ is what gets me through every single day. I wake up and he's gone and my kids are hurting and they're crying. My daughter just turned 9. She was 5 when she saw her dad last, and it's really my faith, the reality of Jesus Christ in our life, that keeps us going every day.
Government officials and religious liberty experts all agree that the preservation of religious liberty is essential for economic and political viability in countries around the world. And while Christians celebrate the release of pastors in Sudan, Christians continue to pray for the release of Pastor Saheed Abedini, who is locked up in a prison in Iran as a result of his faith. At the United Nations, I'm Rohan D. Wellington for ANN News.
A hospital in the United States is being sued by the nation's government for rescinding a job offer once an applicant expressed she couldn't work on the 7-day Sabbath. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, last week filed its lawsuit against the North Memorial Medical Center in the U.S. state of Minnesota. According to Minnesota's Star Tribune news organization, Emily Shur-Ondara, who is a Seventh-day Adventist, was offered a position as a registered nurse in November 2013. Shur-Ondara requested to have a work schedule that wouldn't conflict with her Sabbath observance, which takes place from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. 8 days later, North Memorial refused and rescinded the job offer. According to U.S. law, employers cannot retaliate when applicants ask for religious accommodations. The EEOC wants North Memorial to adopt and enforce equal employment opportunities and give Shur-Ondara back pay, compensation for job search, and compensation for emotional pain and inconvenience.
While we've previously reported on a transformative life center in Dublin, Ireland, leaders recently celebrated the official opening of the Cushla Center. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in the United Kingdom sent this report.
Dublin, a teeming, busy city of over 500,000 people. People on the go, people in business, people in transition. Sadly also, people struggling with health issues, finance, family problems, or just with the stress of life. People that need a place where they can slow down, where someone will listen, will take time with them, where they find people who care. For residents and businesses in the Ranelagh area of the city, they have found such a place. A place making such an impact already that the florist just up the street refused payment for the ribbon in the official opening ceremony. They are so impressed with what one church, one centre, is doing for its community.
Well, this is a very special event to open the Cushla Center. So I now cut this ribbon to open this center officially for the community. This is your gift.
What basically Cushla means, it's Gaelic for pulse or life, and it has, I guess, it embodies what we are doing here, and that is giving life and helping the people in the community live life to the fullest. So we want to be the pulse of the community. We want this place eventually to be a place where people can come in and feel better and get healing, not just healing, but feel well and feel invigorated spiritually, physically, and mentally as well.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church in North America designated Sunday, September 20, as Let's Move Day. It was a time for members throughout the territory to find ways to participate and promote physical activity. Church officials visited a Let's Move event in El Paso, Texas. This is their report.
Today, September 20th, is Let's Move Day. We have people across the North American division getting together with their communities to encourage people to be active, to move, to enjoy nature, and just get out there and send a message that we need to be healthy as individuals and families and communities. Today we are in El Paso, Texas, with a wonderful group of community friends from faith-based organizations, the health department, and many others at this beautiful mountain, McAllen Canyon actually. People came from locally here and from other states to simply join hands and have fun. We had a 1-mile run, we had a 5K run, and enjoying healthy foods and just music, friendships, and just talking about the importance of us being healthy, taking care of our bodies.
Promoting healthy and physical activity is very important for us, especially for children, to prevent complication and all the diseases that can complicate the life of the children. So it's very important for us to start doing exercise, eating well, to prevent some complications and some diseases.
Over the last 5 years, we have the opportunity and privilege to host Let's Move Days across North America and Canada. We were first in Maryland, Hagerstown, Maryland, then we went to New York, then we went to Indianapolis, then we went to Kansas, and now we're here in El Paso. So we've went across many of the unions that we have in the Adventist Church, regions of the country, and so thrilled to see the local faith groups, the local churches, schools, hospitals, other community friends getting together on this one day a year to just celebrate health and life and send a message to the community that God wants us to experience a full and abundant life. And that includes moving, eating healthy, and choosing a full abundant life every day in our lifestyle.
Coming up next, a publishing house in India distributes 1,000 copies of the church's book on health and wellness.
And later, see what extra steps an Adventist university is taking to become the healthiest campus in the United States.
My brother's unexpected death shocked me into changing my life. A friend of mine said, "Why don't you do a triathlon?" So I swam and rode and ran until I discovered life is more than just human strength. I race because my health matters. I believe because my faith matters. I'm Ed, I'm a Christian. I am an Ironman, and I've discovered my whole life matters.
Welcome back, and now for more news from a global church community.
Volunteers of all ages rallied on August 27 to distribute health materials and nearly 1,000 copies of the Seventh-day Adventist Church's World Missionary Book in the Indian state of Maharashtra. The rally to distribute the book, Health and Wellness, Secrets That Will Change Your Life, by Mark Finley and Peter Landless, was organized by the Oriental Watch Publishing House. The publishing house prints Adventist publications in English, Tamil, Marathi, and several other Indian languages. Before the 110 volunteers, including employees of the publishing house, students of Spicer Adventist University and youth of Salisbury Park marched through a local community to distribute the book. Leaders emphasized the importance of adopting a comprehensive, healthy lifestyle. The Maharashtra State's Minister for Social Justice, Shri Dilip Kamble, who attended the rally, applauded the publishing house's ongoing dissemination of health knowledge throughout the nation. The minister was also presented with English and Marathi editions of the book.
As Oakwood University strives to become the healthiest campus in the United States, it will also join a national effort to help make healthier choices easier. This week, the university announced its collaboration with the Partnership for a Healthier America, or PHA, whose honorary chair is Michelle Obama, First Lady of the United States. The 3-year commitment includes adopting guidelines for food, nutrition, physical activity, and programming. School leaders believe the initiative will impact the university's 1,800 students and more than 400 faculty and staff.
On the Solomon Islands, an Adventist church was recently destroyed, and members have been threatened with exile by native leaders. According to the Solomon Star newspaper, the newly erected church on Anuta Island, which was a strong Anglican presence, was built with an agreement of an Adventist landowner, but not with the permission of local authorities. Putanaki Penu Arikifaka, who is the son of the local first chief, told the Solomon Star, although worship is a freedom on the island, what the Adventists are doing is not acceptable to our chiefly system. We told them that they can go ahead with their worship in their own homes, but not to build a church on the island. Ariki Faga also told the paper that Adventists are being chased off the island. Pastor Irving Vaga told Record magazine Anuta's Anglican priests, together with a large group of supporters, demolished the Adventist church. Vaga is soliciting prayers for reconciliation on Anuta Island.
Adventist members from all parts of Great Britain recently had a chance to experience inspiring biblical messages and music at Stanborough's Open Press Day 2015. Record numbers turned out to purchase Adventist resources and taste healthy foods. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in the United Kingdom sent this report.
Advance is here once a year, but yes, we are here together. I have never seen a crowd like this, so praise the Lord. The weather is good, people have come, and I think they're enjoying themselves. Fantastic message as well, and fantastic singing, so what else can you ask for?
And a great feel about the place, and I'm hoping, that people are invigorated and spend lots of money as well. I hold up my hands. I do want folk to spend lots of money buying books to share with their friends and neighbours across the British Isles. It's really buzzing, and I praise God for that.
Well, I can certainly say that we have seen the numbers vastly increase from the year before. We've had a powerful presentation from Pastor Mark Finley and his wife Ernestine. It's just been a glorious day. In fact, the weather was forecast to be rain all day, but I believe someone has been praying. We've had sunshine all day today. Altogether glorious. What can we say? It's been a wonderful day. It is a wonderful day.
Just amazed at the turnout, the excitement, the enthusiasm of people to buy books, tracts, literature. It's wonderful.
And finally in the news this week, the Seventh-day Adventist Church recently released 3 Bibles, which were conceived and developed for local church leaders and dedicated Christian disciples. The Elders' Bible, Deacons and Deaconesses' Bible, and Disciples' Bible were produced by the denomination's Ministerial Association and Cephalus Publishing House. Both the Elders and Deacons and Deaconesses' Bible contain the corresponding handbooks for each ministry. They also include Bible studies and resources about the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Disciples' Bible includes numerous resources to help the reader fully understand the Bible and has tips for biblical preaching.
The Bible has a special purpose in our Christian life, and today we have different kinds of Bibles. For example, we have Bible for parents, we have Bible for women, we have Bible for men, we have Bible for children. So we thought, why we do not have a kind of special Bible for pastors, for elders, and for deacons and deaconesses? I believe that all church leaders, they should be grounded in their leadership in the Bible. They should be empowered by the Bible to have a more effective ministry in the church. So this Bible is similar of all Bibles. For example, we are using the New King James Version, but at the end, in the appendix, we have for the pastor's Bible, the minister's handbook, and many other resources that will help pastors to be more effective in their ministries.
Coming up, a special commentary on religious liberties in the workplace.
Exercising at school boosts test scores. Researchers led students in grades 1 and 2 in Charleston, South Carolina through physical activities while learning basic academic skills like geography. They found that the percentage of kids who reached their goal on standardized tests increased from 55% to 68.5% compared with students who were not participating in the program. That's a fact. But there's hope. While exercising at school or while learning might improve children's test scores, this study also adds to growing evidence that exercise is good for the mind as well as the body. What can you think about, solve, or learn while you are exercising today?
Welcome back. If you're from the United States, you may be familiar with the name Kim Davis. Davis is a clerk in the U.S. state of Kentucky who refused to issue a marriage license to a same-sex couple due to her religious beliefs. Davis was arrested and placed in jail for 5 days.
So was there an infringement on her religious rights? And why has religious liberty become such a polarizing issue? I discussed these questions and more with Dwayne Leslie, Director of Legislative Affairs for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and with Todd McFarlane, Associate General Counsel of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Todd, thanks for being on with us. Dwayne, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
Some quick questions on religious liberty in this Kim Davis case. The first question we want to know, is there a point where a public servant needs to resign if there are portions of their responsibilities that they're unable to fulfill for religious reasons?
Well, no. You know, the thing to understand about both the Kim Davis situation and other situations is that issuing same-sex marriage license wasn't her entire job. The important thing should have been an accommodation for the individual, but allowing for the services to move forward. People shouldn't be forced to choose between their faith and their job. As long as the government entity can provide the services to the citizens, and the individual should be allowed to keep their job, they just don't have to do it themselves.
I see.
And citizens are entitled to the services that the law states that they're entitled to. And so that's really where you have to have a balance. You need to be able to accommodate someone's religious belief. But on the other hand, people who are entitled to legal services should be able to, taxpayers who are actually paying for the salary of that person.
That's a really good point, really good point. Next question we want to look at, where is the line? At what point does our religious protection, our religious liberty that we're trying to keep clear, where do we cross that line and you just have to do your job? And when can a public servant be fired or removed from their office for these issues?
Well, again, as we touched in the first question, some states have been able to find a pretty equitable balance where you can do that. In the state of North Carolina, there was a very similar issue that came up where clerks who had a religious objection were able to say, I don't want to participate in this, but it was seamless so that someone who comes in for a same-sex marriage license is not feeling discriminated against. So, but in the background, the state is able to accommodate both the needs of the individual employee and also the services that people are entitled to.
That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, Kim Davis, I mean, obviously as an elected official, she'll have to answer to the voters the next time she stands for election on this. But again, the important thing is here allowing for rights of individual conscience. Unfortunately, in this situation, the position that Ms. Davis took, namely the people had to go to another county, was never a winning proposition. That was just why she chose that as a legal strategy. Is unknown. But no, they should have provided the services in a seamless fashion as been in other states and could have been done in Kentucky and is now being done, but she didn't have to issue them or have her name on the license.
I see, really good. When we come to religious liberty, it's become now at least a very polarizing issue. Any idea, any thoughts on that? Why is it such a polarizing issue today?
Well, I think what we've seen is that it's become a partisan issue. The left and the right view it very differently. And it's unfortunate because years ago, if you go back to when the Religious Freedom Restoration Act was first enacted, it was actually a bipartisan effort, drawing on the left and the right. You had the ACLU, you also had the evangelicals coming together and everybody in between for a common cause. But now it's become so partisan, rights of one pitted against another, that it's really become an issue which is very difficult.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's become a conflict of rights between individuals. When it was the government that had to bear the burden on this, either by rescheduling a test or making some, exception to some rule or policy, people are much more willing to accept it. But now the feeling has become that it's a conflict of individual rights. The individual rights of Kim Davis versus the individual rights of the same-sex couples.
That's a really good point. That's a good point. Last question we want to look at here. This case has become famous, and again, sometimes we have a negative connotation now presented in some circles on religious liberty. But any good things about religious liberty? Any advantages you guys want to mention and share with us?
One of the things that I think we'd like to see is to bring it back to be less polarizing. For example, I just came back from an event in New York where we brought together over 100 legislators from over 50 countries around the world who, despite their various religious, ethnic, political differences, all came together to support religious freedom, to make it a much more inclusive subject, so that now it should be something that brings people together as opposed to pushes them apart.
Not divisive.
Yeah, every day, I mean, Adventists and other people of faith are getting Sabbath accommodations, or they are able to wear a hijab, or they're able to make all, tests being moved. I mean, all kinds of religious accommodations occur on a regular basis. Unfortunately, those aren't controversial, and therefore people don't seem to really be interested in them.
That's good.
The only things people seem to be interested in and gets talked about is these very, very small number of cases that have gotten national attention.
That's great. That's great. Really appreciate it, Todd. Thanks a lot, Dwayne. Great having you guys on. And now let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history. This week, learn about the founder of the Malamulo Hospital in Malawi.
This week in Adventist history is notable for achievements in health ministries. On September 20, 1880, Christopher Robinson was born in Havisham, England. At the age of 19, he emigrated to South Africa, where 3 years later in 1902, he became a Seventh-day Adventist. He trained as a nurse and worked for the church for 45 years in 5 countries in Central and Southern Africa. Most notably, from 1912 to 1919, Robinson and his wife Tertia served in the British colony of Nyasaland, today's country of Malawi, where he was director of Malamulo Mission. In 1915, Robinson built Malamulo Hospital, which still exists. Last year it treated around 10,000 patients in Malawi, one of the world's 20 poorest countries. Also on September 20, but 25 years later, in 1905, Hinsdale Hospital was dedicated in the suburbs of Chicago. Today it is a 276-bed hospital that last year treated around 225,000 patients. On September 25, 1908, Dr. Riley Russell and his wife Teresa arrived in Sunan, Korea, where they had been sent as missionaries. Word had leaked out that the new missionary was a doctor, and patients were waiting for Riley at the train station as he got off the train. Within a year, he had founded a clinic that became a dispensary, and after the Russells returned to the US in 1922, it became a hospital. Sadly, the Japanese authorities seized Sunan Adventist Hospital during World War II, and it was never returned to denominational control. That was this week in Seventh-day Adventist history.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
In the meantime, join our global conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can connect with Adventists worldwide through more stories, photos, and videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News, Twitter @Adventist Church, and Instagram @Adventist Church.
Our good news for this week comes from the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 17. The passage says, "For the Lord your God is living among you. He is a mighty Savior. He will take delight in you with gladness. With his love, he will calm all your fears. He will rejoice over you with joyful songs."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.